Motorcyclists are inherently individualistic. Historically, they've been often portrayed as outlaws on the fringes of society, so naturally, each state had to come up with the most bizarre and unbelievable laws in order to keep them in line with society's moral boundaries. Today, we're looking at some of the weirdest motorcycle laws you won't believe. Sit back and relax, this is gonna be a fun one. The first law on the list today is for all my Euro boys. The EU has plenty of motorcycle laws on the books for the safety of the rider, other motorists, and pedestrians in general, specifically in regard to their licensing system and power restrictions based on the rider's experience level. And I'd like to think this law is all about rider safety as well. The law states it is illegal for two people to have sex on a parked motorcycle. Interestingly, it makes no mention of having sex on a moving motorcycle, so if your kink involves reckless endangerment, have at it. Just make sure you're wearing all your proper gear and the engine displacement does not exceed 400cc until you're legally allowed to level up to a liter bike. Speaking of liter bikes, this is bad news for all of my Gixxer Squids or Busa boys who are looking to start a new life in Thailand. Legally speaking, all modifications to a motorcycle in Thailand are illegal. I've read this is a relatively subjective thing and that minor or tasteful modifications are often overlooked during inspection, but I imagine if you roll down the street in Thailand with a stretched Busa, painted as Jar Jar Binks using a car tire in the rear, and blasting the Black Eyed Peas from a Bluetooth speaker zip-tied to your triple tree, the police in the area would take notice. But also considering that the most popular two-wheeled machines in Thailand are small displacement bikes and scooters, I imagine just about everyone would take notice if a cursed Busa made an appearance on the strip. Another weird one from Thailand that is no longer enforced: you are not allowed to ride a motorcycle through a tunnel or over a bridge. You'd have to build a raft and float your bike over to the other side every time you reached a water crossing. In Tennessee, according to Code 74109, it is illegal to hunt any sort of game while in or on a moving vehicle, which includes both motorcycles and airplanes. So you cannot load your weapons up on your ADV bike and rip through the forest collecting the souls of fallen wildlife, or get into your personal aircraft and rain hellfire down on the creatures of the forest. You might be thinking that is a weird way to refer to hunting. Well, between you and me, I'm trying to be creative in my language so the YouTube police don't flag it for being provocative or incendiary. I'm talking about clipping off hogs here from a helicopter in Texas and, we get demonetized. They don't like to talk about violence even when it's satirical in nature, so let's take it easy. Anyway, if you are handicapped in a way that normally confines you to a wheelchair, you are allowed to hunt from the comfort of a motorized vehicle. So you could ride your AMF-era Harley-Davidson branded mobility scooter right out into the brush and secure your dinner the old-fashioned way. It is pretty easy to run out of gas on a motorcycle. I've done it many times. They have small gas tanks, many don't have low fuel warning lights, and if you're on a newer fuel-injected bike that doesn't have a reserve setting on a petcock, you can end up accidentally running your bike dry after losing track of time, frolicking through some twisty roads or with your fellow fast boys. Running out of gas already sucks, but in Youngstown, Ohio, I cannot say I'm honestly surprised since nothing good comes from Ohio. It is also a misdemeanor offense to run out of gas on a public road. As if being stranded in Youngstown, Ohio couldn't get any worse. Oh yeah, this is also a new law circa 2021, so it's not even like they get a pass for having some outdated law from 1930 or something. Come on, Ohio, do better. Hey guys, let's take a quick break and shout out the sponsor for today's video, Rockform. Rockform makes the best phone cases and mounts for motorcyclists. Not only do they have mounts to fit up any style of motorcycle, they also make car mounts and bicycle mounts, so once you've got the setup with the Rockform case, you can have your phone safe and secure in every vehicle you've got. It's pretty awesome. Their cases are even magnetic, so you can attach your phone to just about any metal surface and it won't budge. So imagine this, you get your Rockform case, you can put it on your bicycle, on your motorcycle, in your car, slap it onto your fridge, whatever you need to, your phone can stay in places. That's really useful. Their cases are drop tested and feature protection on all 6 sides to ensure protection against the worst drops. If you get yourself a Rockform case, you'll be able to utilize their whole catalog of Rockform accessories, as well like the vibration damper, which is an extra step for protecting your phone's high-tech cameras. If you'd like to support the channel and get yourself set up with the best phone cases and mounts for motorcyclists, follow the link below and use the code YN25. You'll receive 25% off your order. Thank you, Rockform, for supporting the channel. Again, that's YN25 for 25% off. Now back to the show. Speaking of outdated laws, apparently when riding on a rural country road at night in Pennsylvania, there is a law that states you must stop every mile and light a road flare. You must then wait 10 minutes until the road is cleared of livestock and you're able to proceed. This law must have been written before fences were invented. The first agrarian societies were established around 3300 BC, though, and I imagine the fence came into popularity around then when humans transitioned from a nomadic hunter-gatherer to a more organized, settled agrarian society. So, yeah, this law in Pennsylvania must have been put on the books before then, when Neolithic squids were busting dank nooners on horseback down rural Pennsylvania roads, except horses weren't reintroduced to North America until the early 1500s, so none of this is adding up. So disregard everything I said. Might as well feature on an episode of Ancient Apocalypse or something like that at this point. ADV dads and off-road gatekeepers alike are always ruining the fun, aren't they? Gallivanting down muddy forest roads before dumping mud and debris all over the pavement, soiling the chrome on all the big bad Harley-Davidsons in the area. That is why in Minnetonka, Minnesota, it is illegal to have overly muddy or dirty tires on your motorcycle. I mean, this one kind of makes sense, I guess. You don't want to be riding in the twisties of Minnetonka and end up low-siding in a corner because a gaggle of enduro riders dumped a bunch of mud all over the pavement. Can you imagine if a Hayabusa rider came across a muddy corner they weren't expecting? They'd be in a hospital bed before they even know what hit them. The law specifically states it is prohibited for a tire to leave dirt, mud, debris, or sticky substances on the road. So that must mean you're not permitted to eat Pillsbury toaster strudels while riding a motorcycle either. Breaking the law is always fun, right? I mean, it's not like laws that don't hurt anybody. Come on, guys. I mean, like traffic offenses, but theoretically and not in practice. I don't do that or advise anyone to do that, obviously. But listen, in certain states, you can legally defy one of society's most sacred tenets of morality. You are permitted to run a red light on a motorcycle. What did he just say? You heard me right. In some states like Arkansas, Illinois, Idaho, Minnesota, Missouri, Nevada, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Virginia, South Carolina, and Wisconsin, you are able to proceed on a red light while riding a motorcycle if traffic is clear and it is safe to do so. Each state has their own specific requirements regarding how long you must be stopped at a solid red light before proceeding, and so on and so forth. So always consult your local criminal defense lawyer before riding through red lights. Yaminoob and all affiliates are not responsible for any tickets that may be acquired by individuals who do not do their own research regarding their local governing agency. Yaminoob is not a legal expert representative and does not claim any responsibility in the decisions made by motorcyclists who do not understand satire. While not specific to motorcycles, this law certainly applies. In Arkansas, it is illegal to honk your horn outside of an establishment that serves sandwiches after 9 p.m. Apparently, it used to be common for someone back in the day to pull up to a burger joint and just honk your horn repeatedly until someone came and took your order. That sounds super annoying, honestly. I would have voted yes on that statute as well. Or no. Or whichever answer meant honking for burgers is not allowed. It would depend on how the proposition was worded. Always make sure to read your legal burger honking related propositions carefully. Through democracy, we hold the fate of our nation in our soft little baby fingers. We have the power to shape the future for the better with our sweet little Dorito fingers. Spain has some interesting laws regarding motorcycle operations as well, and I am not sure which one would cause more culture shock for an American rider. The first law prohibits the use of motorcycle communicator or intercom systems. What? It is implied that the reason for this is that most intercom systems, unless you've wired up a CB radio on your Honda Goldwing, work alongside your cell phone. And cell phone use while driving or operating any sort of motor vehicle in Spain is quite illegal. An even more particular law regarding motorcycle riding in Spain states that if you are required to wear glasses while riding a motorcycle, you must always be in possession of a spare in case the pair is broken or lost. With proper vision being such a concern, I am curious if the Spanish police think about using tinted visor while tucked in behind a tinted windscreen while going 186 miles per hour on the freeway at night. Spanish Law Code 420 Section 69 states, "Thou must utilize the application of multi-hued light-emitting diodes beneath thy busa to ensure adequate illumination during bouts of nocturnal wide-open throttle pulls." This law in Maryland is really going to put a damper on bike nights. Section 1353 states that a person may not profanely curse or swear or use obscene language upon or near any street, sidewalk, or highway within the hearing of persons passing by, upon, or along such street, sidewalk, or highway. So essentially, you and the boys can't have your hogs lined up on the street in front of Big Joe's Burgers and Brew for middle-aged dads ride out event, swearing up a storm like, "Man, this is one nice ride, my guy. It makes me want to myself silly just thinking about this motorcycle all over the street here. Yeah, your Harley Davidson's giving me a different type of crotch rocket vibe, if you catch my drift. Yeah, you can't say that in Maryland or you'll be given a misdemeanor offense. It sounds like they are not fans of distinctively colorful language, I guess. The last law on the list today hails from Virginia, where a law states you cannot intentionally conceal your identity with a mask or costume while in public places, including on a motorcycle. This law probably put in place to prevent people from wearing those ridiculous Predator-style motorcycle helmets or adorning their helmet in any sort of other weird cosplay livery. This law also states they apply to custom Hayabusa paint jobs. Maybe they can add an amendment that states you cannot modify your motorcycle in a way that conceals the original make and model of the machine. Like, you cannot paint your Hayabusa to look like Big Bird or Falcor the Luck Dragon from Neverending Story. That would be awesome, actually. I'm curious if this Virginia law applies to street squids who not only rock super tinted visors, but also have their license plates tucked way back up inside of their rear fender. Isn't a motorcycle in general just an attempt for an insecure young man to mask their identity? I don't know. Something to think about, I guess. That about wraps it up for today. This one is a fun and silly one. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had like 6 browser tabs open the whole time, just fact-checking each law, so you leave a comment about it saying, well, I live in Virginia and I wear a GIMP mask every time I ride my motorcycle and I've never gotten a ticket about it, so that's fake news. Take a second to subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you later. Fact: the residential Baldwin Street in Dunedin, New Zealand holds the record for having the steepest slope at 38 degrees. For reference, the steepest street in San Francisco is just 27 degrees. Goodbye. So you cannot load your weapons on your ADV bike and rip through the forest, collecting the souls of fallen wild. I can't read that one, it's too funny. So you cannot... damn it. Okay. So you cannot load your weapons up on your ADV bike and rip through the forest collecting the souls of fallen wildlife, or get into your personal aircraft and or get into your personal aircraft and rain hellfire down on the creatures of the forest.